Two races over this weekend for the Renault Clio Cup Europe. First one yesterday, absolute cracker. Friends phoning in to say that should support every big race meeting. No wonder the Clio Cup is celebrating its 30th season, and I think it's in the rudest health it's been for a long, long time. Looked absolutely brilliant in 2021. This is the European Championship with a lot of the French Championship runners coming out to play as well. And conditions absolutely spot on. 21 degrees air temperature, 18 degrees track temperature. That will continue to rise through the day. Not too hot, not too cool. Drivers have no excuses. Of course, they'll find some as to why they don't end up on pole position, but it's an absolutely packed field of cars. Running across three classes. We've got the overall class, we have the Challengers Cup class and the Gentleman class. So plenty of drivers will have a tilt at the podium. This is a 20-minute qualifying session, and the final event of this unbelievably packed race weekend at Magny-Cours will be the second of the Renault Clio Cup races. And as you can see, in time-honoured fashion, the drivers going around trying to get the heat in the tyres, heat in the driver's brain, and of course some heat in the brakes as well. And with these little Renault Clio racers, plenty of space for them to do just that, to go racing. At Magny-Cours, looking at the field, going to the top of the hill at the Adelaide hairpin, you could just see how much space there is for the cars on the track. And in yesterday's racing, it was very close indeed, particularly at the Adelaide hairpin. Stefan Polderman, one of the first drivers out onto the circuit. He's running in the Gentleman Cup class and had a good battle in that class yesterday. And he's one of the lucky drivers that's actually got a bit of space around him out on the circuit. And that is going to be important as they look to see where they're going to be qualifying. A bit of a twitch further down the order there. But the fastest time yesterday set by Dorian Guldenfelt. We'll keep an eye on that. 1 minute 57.9 seconds. So anyone under 2 minutes is in the mix. But really they want to get down into the 1 minute 58 second sector to be at the very sharp end of this field. 38 cars, yes, 19 rows of these cars will be set for this afternoon's race. But right now, it's all about starting to wind up towards the pace. Don't know who's going to be going top, but let's have a look at yesterday's runners. We had Dorian Guldenfels from Nicolas Milan on the front row. Then Marc Guillot, teammate of Milan. Kevin Jimenez, who's the leading Challenger Cup runner. And in fact, we've already seen Stefan Polderman. He was the top qualifier in the Gentleman class. Let's see if that could be repeated today, or will there be another throw of the dice? And certainly it was unbelievably close in yesterday's racing. 5 car packs just providing scintillating race action. Sometimes actually quite hard to keep up, so fast came the changes. And within this, a lot of the teams are running 3, 4, even 5 cars. So there's that delicate balance, it must be said, in the race, where if you're side by side with someone, they're your teammate, do you cut them a little more slack, or do you, as we saw in some of the races, not really in the Clio Cup race, just go down the inside of them anyhow? Still early days as the cars go through turns 16 and 17. We'll start to see some sensible flying laps on the board next time around. Someone has gone wide at Grand Cours. Bits of debris on the circuit being flicked up there, but Grand Cours, it draws you in the first corner. It's a fast left, and my co-commentator John Watson described it yesterday as not really a corner, but it's a not really corner with quite a lot of consequence, particularly as the next corner is Estoril, that long 180-degree right-hander, out of which you need a really, really good exit to speed all the way up the hill through the kink at Golf, all the way up to the Adelaide hairpin. That's your fastest point on the circuit. They're braking for that tight right at the top of the hill. Few drivers, as you can see, just locking up a little bit, trying to brake as late as possible and going past their, let's say, optimum braking point as they look to set the pace. One of the drivers who's suddenly got 2 purple sectors on the screen, Fabien Julia, for LR Performance, but way down the order. Let's see where that one slots in. Right, first time on the board, 2 minutes 30, Jeremy Borajare. That won't be fast enough. As I said, 1 minute 58 is really a good time to be achieving to get towards the front end of the grid. So Fabien Julia down the order, but goes top now, 2 minutes 5. Times to come down. So basically a very quick first flying lap, but that will be consumed very quickly indeed as the front runners come through. Fabio Giulia, for reference, yesterday started on the 14th row, so though that time is on the board, that will be deposed very soon indeed. Marc Guillot, one of the front runners yesterday, now goes up into second place. I think next time around we're going to start seeing the really quick times. Gavin Aimable, Guillaume Mayo and Mathieu Lapondours up at the front end of the field. But Nicolas Milan, car number 50, he is one of the quick runners, started from the outside of the front row yesterday and really has been on very good form. He went through to victory, but it was tight at the finish, as you'd expect in the Clio Euro Cup. Alexandre Albuy is now at the top of the charts for GPA Racing, and teammate Kevin Jimenez, both of them running in the Challenger Cup class. 2 minutes and 4 seconds, but those times will be beaten this time around, you can be sure of that. Keeping an eye out for Dorian Guldenfels, yesterday's pole position qualifier. And I have to look to the second timing screen, way down the order at the moment. The times are going to come down. Who's going to be the first driver under 2 minutes? Not quite coming as fast as you would in some championships. It takes a while to get the heat fully into the tyres. But look at that first sector time. Over a second faster than the previous lap for Nicolas Milan in that one sector alone. But the times are starting to come. Dorian Guldenfels, I was looking for him. He goes top, and someone goes wide, 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 a little bit wider still. Keeping the foot in, rejoining the circuit. A very flamboyant bit of driving by Spanish racer Eric Zabala for Team WRT. Won't have helped his lap time, you can be sure of that. Fabio Giulia back to the top of the charts, but look at the time being achieved by Nicolas Milan. Surely is going to be going to the very, very sharp end of the field. Down to the Lycée Pain, that's turn 15 out of 17, and then 16 and 17, a flick to the right, a flick to the left, over the curbs, all four wheels off the ground. Will that go top? Yes, it does. Topped by only a tiny whisker, because Anthony Girardo has just deposed that as soon as the time was set. Just tucked in behind Girardo goes the top. So Milan Competition have 5 cars in this race, and they're holding the top 4 positions on the grid. They're working together. They're building a tow. It's Anthony Girardo from teammate Mathieu Lanépundonx, Nicolas Milan and Marc Guillot working together to good effect. You can see with the body shape of the Renault Clio, it's tall, you can get a good tow tucked in behind it. And that's exactly what the Milan Competition drivers are doing here. Nose to tail, nose to tail. The yellow car of Marc Guillot is in that group of the 4 runners for the Milan Competition. He's 4th on the grid at the moment. Anthony Girardo in number 5 just sets the fastest first sector of anyone. So it's Guillaume Mayo chasing them down the hill, trying to see where he can go. He's 5th fastest, so I think effectively we've got the cars that are 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th running in that group of 5 cars. Who else is starting to make moves? Kevin Jimenez, GPA Racing. He just put in the fastest first sector of anyone. At the moment, he's down in 8th place, but he's getting a move on. David Pouget, always look out for him. He's only 8th out of the top 10. Dorian Guldenfels goes back to the top. Alejandro Schimpf suddenly for Cota Automation gets up into 2nd place. Still nobody beneath 2 minutes. Best time so far, 2 minutes, 0.4 seconds. Anthony Girardo was top. He's coming down the hill in number 5. He's clearly going to take, at this moment, do the maths there, 1.7 seconds, 1.4 seconds off his best if he doesn't blot his copybook, maybe more through that final sequence of corners, turns 16 and 17. Onto the start, finish straight. Guldenfels is top on the time charts. Marc Guillot goes top. Girardo goes into 2nd. And those 4 drivers through Milan Competition suddenly went, they were 1st through to 4th. They dropped down the order. That lap put them 1st through to 4th. But then suddenly Jerzy Spinkovic moves up into 4th place to spoil their hegemony at the top of the field. So Milan Competition 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 5th at the moment. David Pouget, definitely one of the championship favourites in the Clio Cup Europe, came here with 2 wins, a 2nd and a 4th from the first 4 races. He got a 2nd place yesterday, and he's looking to go top. He goes top. There he goes, top of the charts by 0.134 of a second from his own teammate from GPA Racing, from Kevin Jimenez. So what's happening this time around? Slower run from, well, we've got, look, just under 10 minutes remaining in this 20-minute session. And the Milan competition quartet just backed off a little bit. Maybe it's part of a policy they've worked out. They're going to give each other a tow, have a lap to cool it down, and then go again. There could be traffic up in front of them as well. But right now it's the number 15 car, GPA Racing, David Pouget, top of the charts, 1 minute 59. We have, in fact, down to 5th place now, have got just below the 2-minute mark. Certainly, with so many cars out on the track, 38 cars coming out to play, there can be traffic, and it really is up to the team chiefs to get their cars out into clear air. Nicola Milan, he's going to improve on his lap time. He's fallen down to 9th place. Let's see where that takes him. Will he get up to about 5th or 6th? Over the start-finish line, not actually on the circuit anymore. One of the chargers there, 1:06.2. That's Alejandro Schimpf. Don't forget, he was playing around in the top 10. He's now fallen down the order and into the gravel. And for those behind, all they see is the puff of dust in the air. So let's take a look at a replay of what went wrong for Alejandro Schimpf. Oh, well, you're supposed to be turning left and a twitch to the right, all 4 wheels off the ground, off the circuit, into the gravel, keep driving straight, straight, straight. Can you get through without bogging down? Just enough traction there from Alejandro Schimpf, but a little twitch at Grand Corps, tricky corner, caught him out. So for Schimpf, that leaves him outside the top 10. He's down in 12th place. David Pouget top, 1 minute 59.080. Nicola Milan did improve. He was 9th, suddenly flashed up into 2nd place. He's down by just 34 thousandths. It's that tight at the top. Kevin Jimenez in 3rd place, top Challenger Cup runner. Top runner in the gentleman class is Fabian Giulia, who set that pace early on, was fastest of all. Fabian down in 17th place, but, you know, really running very well in the gentleman cup class. Dorian Goldenfeld on pole yesterday, has fleetingly been at the top of the charts. At the moment is down in 10th place, but improved in Sector 1, improved in Sector 2. We'll get deep into the top 10 with this. Maybe not enough to get up to the front row, though. I would think in about 5th or 6th position at the end of this lap. Oh, locking up down to the Lycée Pin, just gets the retardation done enough to get into the tight right. Another tight right, but immediately the left flick over the curbs. Rear end of the car bucking off the ground. Goldenfeld doesn't go 5th or 6th, he goes 4th, so he kept his foot well planted indeed. Another lap sensibly in the 1 minute 59s. Where are the moves coming from? The very top runners, apart from Goldenfeld's, not finding improvements by and large, but that Milan competition group of cars, here they come down the slope, and the one I'm looking for is Marc Guillot in the bright yellow number 2. Is he going to improve? No, this lap not good. It's fairly solid, but they've got to work their space. A bit of traffic up ahead of them. Car 1-1, that's Mathieu Lanépudence, another of the Milan competition drivers. Lights flashing, they want the group to get past car they're just getting around now with Gabriel Alonso, who was, last time we looked, yes, he's slowest of the drivers out of the track, so he stays out of the way. Has that interrupted that lap? Certainly broken up their group. Oh, looks like next time around is going to be their shot. GPA Racing, I think, also going for a bit of a tow around the circuit. A tow is everything here. Quick on your own is one thing, but if you can get a tow up that long run from Estoril through Gulf all the way up to the heavy braking for the Adelaide hairpin, it's a huge, huge helping hand. These Renault Clio RS's, great little racing cars, more than 200 brake horsepower, more than 300 Newton meters of torque, nimble, agile, quite capable of being bounced across the curbs, and just enormous fun to drive. You can just sense that from the drivers out there. Still Kevin Jimenez, 3rd overall, top in the Challengers Cup class, and at the moment it's gaze down the screen. Jeremy Boarding, oh, it's all changing down at the back end of the field. It's still just Fabian Giulia in the gentleman class. Laurent Ziazidis tucked in behind, and Jeremy Bourdachare. Thibaut Bossy for the TB2S team goes up into 8th place. Nobody else in the top 10 cars out on the circuit finding any improvements at the moment. Some of them just finding traffic. They've got to manage it. Easier said than done. Car 85, Thibaut Bossy, the last driver to improve. Just watching him again, TB2S. And again, a lot of these teams running multiple entries in the Clio Cup Europe. Just to reiterate, 4.5 minutes remaining in this qualifying session. There are also Renault Clio Cup Championships for the French series, an Italian series, a Spanish series, and a Central European one, which does just what it says on the tin. It has races at Hockenheim, the Nürburgring, Hungaroring, Red Bull Ring, and Monza. So those are 4 sub-championships, but the drivers competing for Clio Cup Europe, they have potentially 15 meetings at which they can score points spread across those championships. And then at the end of the year, they're allowed to claim points from 10 of those to go for the overall title. David Pouget still top of the table, almost 1 minute 59 seconds flat. Typical Renault Clio cornering, inside rear wheel off the deck. Something that's carried on from the predecessor, the Forerunner series, back decades ago, more than 30 years ago, when it was the Renault 5 series in the world. So popular. So David Pouget, is this him about to be released clear of traffic? Other cars just pulling out of the way there. David's fastest by 0.034 from his arch championship rival Nicola Milan. Who else is making a play? Milan Competition's Marc Guillot in the yellow number 5. Making the moves, and Anthony Girardo. Sorry, Marc Guillot's in number 2 and Anthony Girardo in number 5. There they are, nose to tail. Can they tow each other around? They're 5th and 6th at the moment, but they've improved in that middle sector. And most notably, the car chasing is enjoying the tow there. Anthony Girardo tucking in behind the yellow car of Marc Guillot. Coming towards the end of the lap, down into turn 15, getting the braking right there. Can they be quick over the right-left flick onto the start-finish straight? Turn 16 and 17. Oh, plenty of air from the pair of them. And over the line they go. Marc Guillot actually doesn't improve his time, but they stay in 5th and 6th positions. New change, Nicola Milan goes top, their team leader. Nicola Milan below 1 minute 59. He's 0.2 of a second clear now. So while a little bit of a trip up there for Marc Guillot and his teammate Anthony Girardo, Nicola Milan has got it absolutely spot on. 0.2 of a second clear of his rival David Pouget. Kevin Jimenez, also for GPA Racing, holding on in 3rd place. He's the top runner in the Challenger Cup class. Where are any future changes coming from? But that lap for Nicola Milan was very good indeed. He started from the outside of the front row for yesterday's race, and he's going to be lining up, if it stays as it is, from pole position, the far sweeter position when you're looking at Grand Curb, as you're looking down from the grid to that first corner, the start of the race. Grand Curb, always such a difficult corner, particularly in full race trim, with a pack of 37 cars tucked in behind you. Slow-moving car coming down the hill. There will be waved yellow flag. It's a white flag to show just how slowly it's moving. Is this going to... Oh, 2 slow-moving cars. Is this going to interrupt the runners as they try to complete their laps? Dorian Gouldenfeld's the red flash on the nose of his number 47 entry. Tumbled down the order a bit. Can he restore himself at the top? He'd fallen to 5th. Don't think we're going to see an improvement. No, we didn't. Clearly had to back out in that final sector. So... still time for one further lap for Gouldenfeld's et al. And et al. Are sitting in his slipstream at the moment. Plenty of tyre squill there because the car's right on the edge as they go through Estoril. Then if they've got a nice tidy exit, accelerating up the hill through the right-hand kink at Golf. There it is, there's Golf, but really effectively it's a straight. The foreshortening image of the camera makes the straight look far shorter than it is. You try walking it, there's plenty of it. So most of the runners on their final lap, some just about to complete theirs. These cars going through the final few corners will be able to start another. That includes David Pouget, car number 15, down in 2nd place at the moment. Oh, he got very close to his previous best time, but he still stays 2nd. Now he's got clear enough track ahead of him. Doesn't have too much of an excuse. Is there anyone he can get a bit of a tow from up the straight? Has he got a teammate nearby? Where's Kevin Jimenez? I think they're running together, actually. So here comes the tow. Up the hill, up the hill, up the hill. Car number 47, Dorian Guldenfeld's on pole yesterday, down in 5th place at the moment. Car number 7, Michael Carré, but down at the bottom of the top 10 in 9th position. But some of these drivers getting a tow and others being slightly held up. You've got to be in such a balance in trying to find space on the track when 38 cars are out there playing. The checkered flag has been waved, so who is going to make the move? David Pouget improves on the first sector of the lap, a tenth of a second quicker than Nicolas Milan. He's 2/10 down overall. Michael Carré, the bright yellow, black and white number 7, likely to improve this time around. Does it move him up the order? Oh no, just down at his best, stays in 9th place. There's that checkered flag waving. Can David Pouget put one over Nicolas Milan? Nicolas Milan hasn't completed his lap, nor has Pouget. Pouget pressing on in number 15. Oh, 4/10 of a second down in the first sector. He's 7th. He's gained nearly 8/10 of a second on his previous best. If he slots this lap together without being tripped up, he's not just going to be on pole. He'll be on pole by a country mile. There he is at Chateau d'Eau at the top of the hill. He's just got the run down under the bridge to the final sequence of corners, the tight right and then the right-left flick onto the start-finish straight. So David Pouget has taken the checkered flag, his best 1 minute 58.752, which he did on that final lap. He stretched the advantage to 3/10 of a second, but look at the splits for David Pouget. Surely that's enough for Pouget in number 15 to take pole for GPA Racing. There he does it, and he does it by, in the end, 0.125 of a second, but he improved in each of those sectors. So congratulations to David Pouget. That was an outstanding lap to come through to take pole position. No changes of note behind, a few improvements, but they're generally outside the top 10. But David Pouget will be delighted. He started back in 6th yesterday and it made it difficult. He came through to 2nd place, raced really well, kept his head in very, very busy traffic. But today he's made it easier for himself. He's taken pole position and that was a cracking run. Saved it to the end, made the most of getting a clear lap when it really counted at the end. But it was down to the speed he had in him. He hadn't been able to make it stick before then, but then he absolutely nailed it on that final lap. So, job well done. GPA Racing take a bow. David Pouget take probably 2 bows for that performance. And he can now wind it back down, come back to the pits, cool down. And he really not only got the most out of the car and the tyres, he also worked the traffic really well in that. It became increasingly hard, but right at the end, when everything was bunching up around him, he made some space for himself. And then he absolutely delivered and seized that opportunity. So great. You can see why the championship front runners are precisely that. David Pouget, Nicolas Milan right at the front end of the field. And top Challenger Cup runner Kevin Jimenez in 3rd. So there we are, GPA Racing 1st and 3rd in the form of pole qualifier David Pouget and the Challenger Cup leader Kevin Jimenez. And among them are the Milan competition cars with Nicolas Milan in that 2nd place, 0.125 of a second down on David Pouget. Also 4th place for Anthony Gerardo, 6th place for Mathieu Landepoudon and Marc Guillot in 7th. So the top teams and the top drivers doing exactly what they needed to do. But for David Pouget and Nicolas Milan, a really solid session. And at the end, the best of the rest was 7/10 of a second down. He'd been so close. And then the top drivers, David Pouget and Nicolas Milan, seized the day, took the moment, and will fill the front row of the grid. So let's take a look at the highlights of that event. 20 minutes, action-packed. It took a while for the drivers to get the heat into their tyres. They weaved left and right around the circuit. We had a few runners off the circuit and beyond. No damage done other than pride and a lap time lost for Eric Zabala there. And then it was a real case of getting a tow up the hill, if at all possible, to the Adelaide hairpin, and getting a tow really counted. Then a few moments just a little bit wrong led to a big moment through the gravel for 162 Alejandro Schimpf at Grand Corps, but bouncing over the curves into turns 16 and 17 seemed to be de rigueur to get a fast lap. A few cars running a little bit wide. Leonard Viguier, one of the fallers yesterday. And today, when the checkered flag came out, it was a final lap from David Pouget to be proud of, because he came through. Pole had been in the hands of his rival, Nicolas Milan, but he absolutely grabbed it with both hands. He will start at the very sharp point.